Heidi-ho, neighborinos, and welcome to Hyperspace Podblast, your Star Wars fix in 30 minutes or less.
We will be back next week with brand new content, but today we have for you my favorite episode from our Podiversary episode, talking about our favorites from the last year. What does it mean to be a Sith?
Well, let's just listen and find out, that's what.
Yeah, and if you want to go back and listen to What Does It Mean to Be a Jedi, it's a great pairing to this episode. So we hope you enjoy, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, this is Brian,
And Shelby.
and you're listening to the Hyperspace.
Pod Blast. Aren't you a little short for a podcast?
Huh?
Wow! Welcome back, everyone, to Hyperspace Podblast number 20. What to mean to be a Sith?
All right, then. That's a new one.
Yeah, see, I'm trying to keep it fresh.
I think people might ask you to go back to the normal stuff.
Yeah.
The terrible British accents.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. So yeah, in sort of contrast to our What's It Mean to Be a Jedi episode, we're coming back at you with What's It Mean to Be a Sith?
What's it mean? What's it mean?
Sounds familiar.
Ooh. So, Brian, what does it mean to you to be a Sith?
To be honest, it's a tough question. On the surface, I think if you asked any other fan in general, they would say, rule of two. Sith, rule of two. It's like peas and carrots. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Or they would say dark side. They use the dark side.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's, I guess I took that for granted. It's a given that the Sith are dark side wielders, for sure.
Bad guys.
Bad guys, yeah. And they can make lightning come out of their fingers, which is a very cool power. But yeah, it's an adherence to this basic premise that one person is the unholy master of all that is dark and evil, and then there's one person that's slightly below them but wants to kill that person to take the power of the unholy master of evil stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, in a nutshell, I guess that's like generically what it means to be a Sith. But honestly, I thought this was a good idea for a podcast, but now I'm like, I don't even know. I don't know what it means.
And you're not sure what you think.
I don't know what I think. It's a conundrum because there's a clear-cut definition in theory.
But no one follows it.
Yeah, it's like a fake veneer. When you peel that back, like what's actually under there, we don't know.
Well, I think the problem is that no one is a perfect Sith.
Right.
No one follows all the rules. Because I think you can find the perfect example of a Jedi. You can find the perfect example of a Jedi, say, I don't know, if you want to say Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan or Yoda, whoever you want to. There's several people.
To pick from. I think that makes the selection process easier. You can. It's hard to boil down from a handful of examples, really, what it means to be. I mean, in Maul's case, what it means to be a Sith is to be like a honed weapon of Jedi destruction. In Sidious's case, it's to be this outstanding puppet master, which I think is probably the best. I don't know. I guess it's like a dark side wielder that yearns for world domination or galactic domination, I guess, in this context. But I mean, I guess too, that's what Dooku wanted. But Dooku's Sith empire would have been way different from what Sidious's Sith empire ended up being. Don't you think?
Yes, I do.
So, that just begs the question again. What is a Sith?
And honestly, I don't even think Dooku is that great of a Sith because, yes, he's the apprentice. He's supposed to want to kill his master and be the master himself. But my impression of him is that he's totally cool with being the apprentice a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's because of his Jedi upbringing.
Maybe so. Maybe he was more adherent to the hierarchy. Wasn't always trying to jump that hurdle. But yeah, I mean, he's a way cooler character in the Clone Wars versus in the movies. Like in the movies, it's almost like he knows he's a patsy and doesn't even care.
That's mostly my impression of him. Yeah.
Yeah, he was. I mean, a lot of people have even complained that he was like wholly unnecessary. Like, just don't kill off Maul and ta-da.
But in a way, though, you kind of have to see that Sidious doesn't follow the rules because there's the overlap. I mean, you can't say that there isn't an overlap.
Absolutely not.
And it's also the question, who was the quote-unquote official apprentice? Was it Dooku or was it Maul?
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Like Maul is like the ultimate pawn. He was like honed for that sole purpose of you're going to be like the face of the Sith's return. They have that whole, the Sith have been extinct for millennia. Well, we back now and we a black and red horny devil, you know? Like that was his whole point. You do that. And then while you're doing...
Be the scary face.
Yeah.
Be the scary face of the Sith.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to go behind your back and get Dooku, and we're going to start my big plan. Because essentially, I don't know, I feel like Sidious wanted someone that was Maul and Dooku.
He wanted both. He wanted someone put together, which honestly is Anakin.
Yeah, exactly. So he wanted the blade and the brain. So Dooku was the strategic, lead my opposing faction for this fake war. Because Maul, I think he knew that if he gave Maul that much, Maul would try to actually win. Which is kind of what he did in the Clone Wars. But yeah, it's like he's the blade, he's the weapon, and then okay, the weapon's doing his thing. All right, brain, let's do this other thing. So yeah, it's an interesting point too. We're gonna get into some Darth Vader comic stuff here again. So mild spoilers if you haven't read it. In that, Sidious makes Vader go through very specific hoops to get his lightsaber. And he has to basically kill a Jedi and take it from him. And yet, Maul has his lightsaber before he ever encounters a Jedi. So, what's up with that?
Right. My personal opinion is he didn't make Maul go through those hoops because Maul was a throwaway to him.
Yeah.
And maybe this made him less powerful. In a way, it almost kind of reined him in.
Mm-hmm. So a way to keep that, bloodlust in check, sort of.
Yeah, and maybe he's done this in a way to make him less powerful so he doesn't have to worry about him overthrowing him at a certain point.
Right.
Which also begs the question, if he had a lightsaber that he took from a Jedi, would he have fallen?
Yeah. Would Obi-Wan have won even though he had the low ground?
Well,
yeah. Anyway.
It's interesting to think of it that way. And then you also ask, did Dooku have to go and do this? Or does it suffice because, he says, well, you lost your lightsaber, so now you got to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Dooku didn't have to do it because he already had a lightsaber from when he was a Jedi, and his quote-unquote taking it from a Jedi was taking it from himself, his former self.
Right, overtaking his former Jedi persona and becoming. Yeah, I don't know. It's almost as if
or maybe
Sidious...
he's just screwing with him.
Yeah, exactly. He's just adding insult, literal insult to injury, severe bodily injury, for example.
He finds out that he's dumb about it. He doesn't know about it, so he's like, okay, dude, hey guys, watch this. I'm going to go make him do all this stuff.
He's elbowing Masamita. Yo, check this out. Watch this. This is going to be funny. I put a camera in his suit. We'll watch the whole thing. It's going to be great. Bring the popcorn. Tell say pistache. But yeah, it's a weird juxtaposition. I think that you have these two things. Here's Vader has to go through all these hoops. He's already killed all these Jedi, tons of Jedi. Sure, some of them were kids, but still tons of Jedi. And now he's still got to do all this to get his lightsaber. And you have Maul, who gets a freebie.
Technically, all those lightsabers you see at the beginning of that comic, why didn't you just give me one of those?
Yeah.
You probably could have been like, dude, I killed all the people that had those.
Yeah, seriously. I already did this.
I think technically it would have worked because didn't he kill most of them?
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Personally.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems, I think, honestly, I don't know. Sheevy is a devious little fella. He was probably making it all up as he went along.
And maybe, if you go back to comic number 2, maybe he's making him do this so that, he can use Anakin to go find, I don't even know. Did they name him in the comic?
Yeah, but he's got some goofy freaking name.
Yeah, the guy that's on his, and I also forget the name of the, Jedi on leave.
Or whatever
Yeah. Maybe the whole point was so that Vader would be super, motivated to go and find.
I think that's kind of what Vader's whole job is initially, the cleanup man for Order 66, basically. And that's what we are, I don't know if they explicitly say it, but that's what we're given to think the Inquisitors are for. So I think eventually Vader's this is beyond me, or below me. Yeah. I don't want to do this anymore. So Inquisitors, you go do this.
Which, the Inquisitors have that dual lightsaber
Yeah, just
thing,
like Maul.
just like Maul. So maybe that's what you get whenever you're not a real Sith.
That's the gifted saber. Maul's didn't have the spinny training wheels on it, though.
It was just version 1.
Yeah, he couldn't use it as a helicopter, so... +1 to helicoptering.
So to me, I mean, when you think back, you can't ever name a Sith who was the model or ideal Sith. Most people would say Sidious.
Yeah, I mean...
But yet he broke his rules all the time.
Yeah, they all do.
Maybe that itself is what it means to be a Sith.
Yeah.
To break the rules, to do what you want.
Do what must be done.
Although the first thing that I think of... when I think of a Sith is someone who uses their anger and passion, and in a way love, because...
Hey, that's passion.
It is passion.
Baby.
Hate and love are not opposites in my brain. So using love and hate and all of those really intense emotions while using the Force is what makes you a Sith, which is now bleeding into that middle ground as well, because that's the complete anti of being a Jedi, is to use all of those emotions.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah,
that's how I think of it. Not
the
more
emotional factor is a really good point about, because they do all have that in some way, except for Sidious. Really, his only emotion seems to be like giddiness,
and also to use for personal gain. And I think that's also what ties into Sidious, is using the Force for personal gain, not for peace, not for, whatever Jedi order you have, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Though technically, Sidious was trying to achieve his own version of peace.
Right. It's just very convenient for him.
Yeah, it's a warped sense of peace, to put it bluntly. So yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of discussion about the rule of 2, but that's not always how the Sith were, right? We don't really know much about the old Sith with the new canon.
Just gonna get more ridiculous.
Yeah. But in the EU, there used to be billions, I guess, of Sith, like as many as Sith as there were Jedi, and they would fight wars and all this other stuff. They had a whole different Sith empire, they had their own little portion of the galaxy, and then they changed to adapt this whole rule of 2 because they realized, we keep killing each other before we can put our grand plans into motion. Like someone comes up with a great idea and they start to work on it, and then all those people end up dead, and their apprentice is like, yeah, what should we do now? Guys, let's take over the world. Awesome. How are we gonna do it? They come up with this big plan. They're like, yeah, and then their apprentices are like, okay, what do we do now? Got a great idea. Let's take over the world. So Bane was like, all right, we're gonna shrink up this, cut the fat, so to speak, and we're just gonna be 2 people. One person to make the plan, one person to kill the person, and then carry on that plan with someone else. So instead of having to start over, I don't know, whatever. So we know the Sith have changed before. Can they change again?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, I don't think
because
so either.
The Jedi, we believe the Jedi have changed, that we've had different waves of Jedi.
Absolutely.
Whenever you talk about Sith and the rule of 2 being so linked, you have to think about how long they've been linked. You have Sith temples that you need 2 people to open. Well, 2 or more than 2, I guess.
2 or more. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think you would...
Can't do it with 1.
Can't do it with 1.
But yeah, and when they grab the holocron, it's like it takes a master and an apprentice.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's fine. Maybe there are
and then
30 masters and 30 apprentices there, and 1 pair of them go and do it.
It has to be 2 or more.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, with the rule as we know it from Jedi, always 2 there are, no more, no less. But maybe at least 2 there are, sometimes more, never less. Maybe that's how it actually goes.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think that we can change. I think we can have more than 1 wave. We've already had more than 1 wave of Sith. So, maybe, I don't know if there's ever been a time that we can truly say that the rule of 2 was followed to a T.
Yeah, exactly.
Ventress.
Yeah, there you go. We spoke on it somewhat with Maul, but yeah, Ventress is in the same boat,
And she's a decoy, which also, hey, both of them are aliens.
I know. Come on, Empire. Come on, Sidious.
I know. No love.
He keeps his right-hand man as an alien, though, so he can be like, I have one alien friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because I send a lot of other ones to their death. No.
Oh, no, guys.
But yeah, I mean, to me, I think, like you said, decoy, I think Ventress was kind of like the shield for Sidious. Like, you know, the Jedi are basically zoned in on this rule of two. Like, they think it's a hard and fast thing, right? So if they've got Dooku and they've got Ventress, there are your two. So they don't even know.
Puzzle solved, guys.
Yeah, they're not even thinking about the mysterious Sidious back here in the corner pulling all the strings. They think they've got the two Sith, right? And honestly, I didn't care for Ventress in the Clone Wars. The novel is really good, like surprised me good. It's probably one of my top new canon novels. But
Wait.
oh, sorry. Perfect.
Thank you.
But yeah, she was basically just there so Dooku didn't look bad. You know, she was the one that got sent in to get beat by the Jedi because that's what happens. You know, the bad guy's not going to win. The good guys are going to win. And Dooku can't look like a complete failure, so Ventress. Or Grievous to a lesser extent. He got the raw end of the deal a lot too. But yeah, so you have that going on. And it's not like it's behind Sidious's back either. Like, first of all, you couldn't do it behind Sidious's back. He would know.
Yeah.
Secondly, he just knows. So it's whatever. And then we move forward and you have the Inquisitors. Who even knows how many? Like, is he slowly building up his own mini Sith empire here?
Sith light.
Yeah. The return to the old Sith, is that what he's starting to do?
Right. And maybe because they're not going through all of the quote unquote customs, maybe that's what makes them not Sith, so that he can get away with the rule.
Yeah, I think like
maybe
you said,
that's exactly what makes it so that you can have all of these Sith, not Sith people.
Yeah, it's all about loopholes. It's basically whatever the Sith is whatever you want it to be, it almost seems.
Which I'm totally cool with. Yeah,
I guess. I mean, but then what stops any dark side user from calling themselves a Sith? Like Snoke and Kylo.
I really don't. I don't know. Now I don't know. I guess I've talked myself into thinking that they could be.
Yeah,
but
I don't.
I feel like you have to subscribe to some of that Sith lore.
Right. It's like
some of it, like something. You have to at least claim the name.
Yeah, I would think so too. Yeah.
I think you need to claim the name, period.
Mm-hmm.
And then also you need to, I don't know, I guess idolize the teachings of Sith before you.
Yeah, I think it has to do with what you were talking about earlier with the whole passion thing. Because Snoke looks at Kylo as this like prime specimen because he has that balance within him, right? And Sidious tried like the devil to beat that lightness out of Anakin. He wanted a pure, dark, angry Sith, right? So the we haven't seen Snoke train Kylo yet. So he may give him that use your anger, use your hate, you know, but I don't think so. I don't think he's just going to be like, I'm a big dude, do stuff.
That's going to be really exciting in the theater. I'm so stoked. Guys, this is going to be great. In case you didn't know, The Last Jedi, I'm a big guy, do stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, we probably should have said spoilers.
True. Just ruined the whole movie.
If we're right, that's going to be terrible.
It's going to be the tagline. The Last Jedi, I'm a big guy, do stuff. Yeah, anyway. That was all terrible. Yeah, I don't know what his training technique is going to be, but I don't see him doing that. I don't know what it is. Obviously, that's how we got into that whole debacle. But I don't see it being the Sidious growling at you about hatred and anger thing. So that does not mesh with Sith. So I think we've whittled it down to the whole passion, dark side, motivations to domination.
I'll be really interested in seeing if Snoke is not a big fan of Kylo's affinity for collecting artifacts.
Grandpa stuff.
Yeah. Or I mean, maybe it's not just grandpa stuff. Maybe it's Sith stuff in general.
Yeah.
He may be after Sith stuff in general, and Snoke's like, dude, no, that's not what we're doing here.
And it might be like the Kylo is the dark side version of Ezra, right? Where Ezra didn't think he was getting the training, enough training or whatever. So he tapped into the Sith holocron to get more knowledge. Maybe Kylo thinks that Snoke is holding him back, so he's out there looking for other sources And I mean, that might be what led him to Snoke in the first place. He may have thought Luke was holding him back, Jedi-wise, and then he goes to Snoke and he's like, well, he's holding me back too. Why can I not tap into my...
Yeah, maybe he left because he thought this Luke guy, he's only seeing one side of this. Do you think that Luke would be too scared to really inform them? Because you see that one of the things that's going on with Vader is that he doesn't know anything about the Sith. No one does.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, like I said, I don't even think Palpatine does. I think he's literally making up half the stuff that
I'm just making it up as I go.
Yeah, because he knows Anakin doesn't know any better. So, and where's he going to look it up? I'm sure Palpatine has all that stuff under lock and key. So,
and maybe Luke was seeking this stuff out, bringing Kylo with him, and saying, we're not going to really use this, but we're going to learn about it. And Kylo's like, actually, no, we're going to use this.
Could very well be. And it could be that, I don't know. I would think that part of what Luke would do would celebrate the fact that Vader came back to the light at the end. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure they mention in Bloodline that it's something that people know, but they're still, it's hard to erase all that, nasty stuff that Vader did. Like,
right.
One good action at the end doesn't undo, unless you're Luke Skywalker, doesn't undo every terrible thing. Or the Force, I guess, if you're the Force. Yeah, so, I mean, sort of on that same topic then, did the Sith end with Vader and Palpatine on Death Star 2? Was that it? Kaputski, there are no more Sith. Or can they be rebuilt? Can they come back? Even, we'll take it two ways. If Snoke is not some former Sith, hopefully he's not, but whatever. If the two remaining Sith did in fact die, could the Sith come back anyway?
Oh, you mean like apart from Snoke? Oh, I think it's completely possible for the Sith to come back because,
apart from Snoke, because
how long were Sith gone when Sidious revived?
They weren't actually gone, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They were low-key gone.
But how many low-key rule of two, not rule of two people were around?
Right,
in that situation.
That's what I'm hoping, that Snoke doesn't end up being some kind of caveat, rule of two, but we always send one out in the middle of the unknown regions just in case the Sith screw it up, so we can come back and bring them back. I don't know. I hope that's not the case, but yeah, assuming they're all dead, caveats all. Every Sith-related person is dead. Can it be rebuilt from nothing, essentially?
I don't think it can be rebuilt from quote-unquote nothing, but I think it could be rebuilt from the knowledge and teachings.
That's what I mean. The stuff is still out there. Yeah, the stuff.
I think it could because, you discover it, you wing it, and interpret it the way you want to do it, and you tap into the raw passion and hate and that sort of thing, and I think you could. I think you absolutely could, and you could say, I'm a Sith. Ta-da! And that's about it.
And then it just becomes true because you said so. Okay, so other side of that coin, what if Snoke and Kylo declare themselves Sith?
Then I guess they're Sith.
Do you buy it, though?
I'd probably buy it. I think
even if they don't show any of the sort of traits, it looks like they are going after the whole world domination thing. Though I don't know if that's their MO or if it's just destruction of the Republic. I feel like it's almost like all these First Order people have been brought up with this innate hatred of the Republic because they've been fed this propaganda that, the Republic took a big doo-doo on their ancestors, the ex-empire, and now it's just like a revenge thing for them. It's not necessarily...
That sounds more Sith than anything else I can think of.
Yeah, it's true. But I don't know. I don't know if they have world domination.
Again,
I guess they kind of do.
I feel like, yes, you have to have the dark side use flowing from that passion, from that hate, that anger, but you also have to have a little bit of basis in Sith teachings. Something. Pull it... if you find one holocron... And
yeah, I'd say Kylo definitely has the passion. He's got the emo.
Yeah, he does. So I think that I would buy it. If they said that, I would buy it, and then I would be looking for more evidence continuing forward.
Maybe that's why Kylo isn't a Sith, because he releases all his anger instead of harnessing it.
Maybe.
He just slashes the crap out of computer systems and stuff.
Maybe.
Instead of make him stronger and focused and whatnot.
I don't know. I think that we're going to find... I think we're going to find a lot of interesting stuff between both Kylo and Rey and how they use their emotions in relation to the Force.
Yeah, I think
it's going to change the definition of both Sith and Jedi in the future.
I think both. It's not that whole dark versus light anymore. They're both kind of going toward the middle. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we already had on one side the Sith ended, and now we're thinking the Jedi need to end. So who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe in a year this won't even be a discussion because it'll be like, who cares what the Sith are? They don't even exist, man. Sith are dumb. It's like 2000 late, bruh.
Which I think it's also interesting because we haven't brought up the concept that Star Wars can't continue their marketing and branding without the word Sith.
Yeah, I don't think that matters. I mean,
I don't think that matters.
Was never a thing
it matters
in the
to
original
Jedi,
trilogy.
but we think it matters to Jedi.
Well, Jedi has been a thing
Yes.
since the beginning. They never called them Sith until the prequels. That wasn't even a thing, really. I think it was in some novels, and but general audiences didn't know what a Sith was. They knew Darth Vader, Lord Vader, but they didn't know he was a Lord of.
Yeah,
that's the Sith. Sith is not synonymous like Jedi is. I don't think at all.
Right. I just thought it's interesting, that we don't have that feeling of.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how could the Sith end? Maybe it's just because we want bad guys to end.
No, I don't. I definitely don't. I really don't think it's that they don't have that marriage of, I don't know, things.
Yeah, but if you have any thoughts on what you think it means to be a Sith, please let us know on Twitter
at hyperspace_pod.
Or email us, hyperspacepodblast@gmail.com. So that's about all we have for you today.
Yeah, so now you know exactly what a Sith is.
Boop,
except
boop,
not
boop.
really.
Nope.
Clear as mud.
All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.